giving honor and thanks to God. We want to thank the Almighty, Lord and Savior, for allowing us to acknowledge this day for our fathers, for they have followed the path of Christ for their families, through faith, praying, fasting, staying in the Word of God, sacrificing, and most importantly, submitting to the will of God. Let's go back in time and observe some mighty saints of valor who upheld the values of the Lord through integrity and wisdom, through the grace of God, just like our fathers in this place do.
Good morning. I am Esther. I was faced with many difficult situations, just like you are on a daily basis. The grace of God gave me the ability to transform from an orphan to a queen. It also gave me the ability to be steadfast, unmovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord, which in this case was to assist in the contribution of saving the children of God. What grace! I am a witness that God most definitely uses people in difficult situations, like He has placed you in the life of your children. In the case for me, He is Mordecai. For if you keep silent at this time, relief and deliverance will rise for the Jews from another place. But you and your father's house will perish. And who knows whether you have not come to the kingdom for such a time as this.
After much thought, she did what I observe fathers do, and that is to fast. In Isaiah 15:6, it says, "Is not this the fast that I've chosen? To loosen the bands of wickedness, to undo the heavy burdens, and to let the oppressed go free, and that ye break every yoke? Then I proclaim a fast, that we might afflict ourselves before our God, to seek of Him a right way for us and for our little ones, and for all our substance." With this said, she went to God in fasting and prayer. Placing her life in God's hands, she let Him decide the outcome for her and for her people. From her actions, she allowed God to use her as a living testimony to say that she feared man so little and feared God so much more. Therefore, she went to the king, though it was against the law, and
if I perish, I perish. I risked my life when I went before King Ahasuerus, because if he had not put out the scepter, then I would have surely died. But we know, by my bravery and God working through me, the Jews were saved, just like the fathers here, helping to save this generation and generations to come.
I, Noah, was the man who took God seriously. I did all that God commanded of me. I walked with the Lord and found grace in His sight. By faith, why faith? Hebrews chapter 11, verse 6 states, "But without faith it is impossible to please Him. For he that comes to God must believe that He is, and that He is a rewarder of them that diligently seek Him." As I was saying before, by faith, being warned of God, of things not seen as yet, moved with fear, prepared an ark to the saving of my house, by which I condemned the world, and became heir to the righteousness which is by faith. Fathers, I see your obedience being lived out over a lifetime of faithful commitment, as in my life. I have observed you in teaching your children to trust in the Lord with their whole heart, so that they don't rely on their own understanding.
I was a man whose life was tested beyond imagination, yet did not curse God. Devastation came upon me. In all of this, I did not sin or charge God with wrong. Instead, I blessed the name of the Lord. I did not understand it, as the account will show, but nevertheless, I accepted it and did not accuse God of breaking his promises or failing to fulfill his word. I felt like, shall we only receive pleasant things from the hand of God and never things unpleasant? For I know that my Redeemer liveth, and that he shall stand at the latter day upon the earth. And though, after my skin worms destroy this body, yet in my flesh shall I see God. But in all of this I have learned, behold, the fear of the Lord, that is wisdom, and to depart from evil is understanding. Proverbs chapter 14, verse 26 states, in the fear of the Lord, one has strong confidence, and his children will have a refuge. Fathers, I am thankful that you have taught your children who this refuge is, Christ.
Fathers, there is no one on earth like him. Job is blameless and upright, a man who fears God and shuns evil. We are thankful that we see this in you.
Joseph was a man who had impeccable integrity and was completely devoted to the Lord in times of injustice, betrayal, and temptation. Because of this reputation and steadfast reliance on God during the years of famine and hard times, he was able to be reunited with the very brothers who betrayed him and to save a nation from starvation, but not him, the God in him, because he was willing to go where the flesh didn't want to go. God sent him ahead in this form to do his will. What was meant for evil against him, God meant it for good. God has overcome evil to bring his plan into fruition. There may be many distressing circumstances we find ourselves in, and some may even be unjust, as were those in his life. However, as we have learned from his life, by remaining faithful, steadfast, and accepting God's will for our life, he shall direct our path. Amen. As you all direct the path of your children and wife. You teach them by example how to walk not after the flesh, but after the Spirit, so that they too can do the will of God.
I, Ruth, married the son of an Israelite. But at some point, my father-in-law, husband, and my husband's only brother passed away. I was left with my mother-in-law, whom I loved very much. So much until I could not bear to part from her or from the God of Israel. This testimony preceded me and gave me favor in the eyes of Boaz. I was a woman who left everything I had for something far greater than I could ever imagine. For instance, when my mother-in-law was trying to convince me that I was still young and had my entire life ahead of me and not to follow her, I said to her, what I know your children will say about you. Do not urge me to leave you or to return from following you. For where you go, I will go. Where you lodge, I will lodge. Your people will be my people, and your God, my God. Where you die, I will die, and there also will I be buried. May the Lord do so to me, and more also, if anything but death parts me from you.
Who is
More faithful than Abraham?
Good morning. I am Sarah, the wife of
willing to do this as an act of faith and obedience. It was through his descendants that the Jewish nation would arise, a people who would receive the covenant of the Lord. One of those descendants would be the Savior, not just for the Jews, but for the whole world.
Amen.
By faith, he was willing to sacrifice our own son in order to be obedient to God. This was a son of promise, which we know that Jesus Christ is the fulfillment of that promise. And Isaac said unto him, My father. And he said, Here am I, my son. And Isaac said, Behold, the fire and the wood, but where is the lamb for burnt offering? And he said, My son, God will provide himself a lamb for burnt offering. So they went both of them together. He reasoned